Sham, welcome to Pathway Group offices.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming in and being our keynote speaker for Coffee and Natter. I believe you spoke about PR and public relations. Just tell us a little bit about the content of today.
Well, I concentrated on bad PR and good PR and the legal issues surrounding it.
Yeah.
One of the things, bad PR is the more of a hot topic than good PR.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of the mass media and the instant way somebody could read an article about you, and not only the instant, the amount of people that will read it. For example, on Facebook, even if you don't have many friends on your Facebook, people could share it, and within a minute you could have about 500 to 600 people viewing a particular comment about you. Yeah. So what I concentrated on today in my talk was if you have bad PR, somebody has said something about you on Google or Facebook, how to deal with it. And my advice to people was to deal with it straight away. Don't bury your head in the sands and avoid it. And that's number one. And the second thing was, you get the old adage, people saying, no publicity is bad publicity, or there's no such thing as bad publicity. I don't agree with that, I'm afraid. If you're running a business, bad publicity is bad publicity, and it could also ruin your business and your livelihood. So I dealt with it from that point of view and how to deal with it. And secondly, the legal consequences of having bad reviews about yourself, or somebody saying untruth about you on Google or Facebook, who is the ultimate person who's responsible. And you may surprise people to know that if somebody says something about you on Google, in fact, at the first instance, Google is not responsible. It's like somebody writing on my wall about somebody else. Just because I own the wall doesn't mean to say I'm responsible.
Right.
However, when it comes to something like Google or Facebook, once they are notified that somebody has said something untruth about you or defamatory about you, then they have a time limit in which they have to take it off. Now, if somebody has said something and it is the truth, although it may be bad for you, but it's actually the truth, that they're under no obligation to take it off if they could provide you with the name and address of the person who's put it, so you could challenge them. If they do not do that, then they have to take it out.
Right.
And then they will lose their statute of defense of, well, I'm not responsible if they do not take it or do something about it. So that was that issue I dealt with from the legal content.
Yeah.
And in relation to content in general, what should you do if you do get bad publicity, or somebody said bad comment about you? And my advice was, if somebody has said something bad, block them, get it deleted. But it's better not to react to it, because if somebody's going to say something defamatory about you and it is untrue and you don't know who they are, you're not going to get much mileage by interacting with those people. So just move on, delete it, get it off the system as quickly as you possibly can. Obviously, if it's a genuine customer with a genuine grievance, on the first instance, a customer with a genuine grievance, in my experience, wouldn't put it on Facebook or Google. They will tell you and say, look, I came to you, you gave me bad service, I want compensation, or I want you to sort it out.
Just on that, Sham, I mean, obviously, somebody making a remark is slightly different to maybe somebody having a viewpoint and giving a review. If somebody's given a review which is a negative review, and we will live in a world where businesses thrive and fail because of reviews, particularly in the hospitality sector, and it's legal legal profession. Obviously, you're a solicitor, you're a professional in that sector as well. But across the board, is that slightly different to bad publicity in terms of somebody putting a sort of a slanderous comment on?
Well, no, a slander is slander is slander.
That's
so if somebody comes to my restaurant. And says, well, I had the food there and the food was awful.
Terrible.
Terrible. Now, they're entitled to that opinion. But if they really didn't come to my restaurant, and I don't know who that person is, then obviously I have no way of challenging.
Sometimes it's competitors, isn't it?
Well, of course it's competitor, and that's when if a competitor says it, then that's defamation. He hasn't been to my restaurant, and he can't just say that my restaurant, my food is bad because of the fact that he hasn't come as he's a competitor. You could have in the legal profession, you could have another lawyer saying something bad about, you could have a doctor, PR, any kind of thing. But if the person has told all the truth, then it's defamation. If, however, I genuinely went into a restaurant, then I'm entitled to complain about it. I'm entitled to make it, say it. But if, however, I have gone to the restaurant and I said to the waiters and the managers, I really enjoyed that food, but then later on, I say, that's defamation, because defamation is something which is said which is untrue. The first principle of defamation, it has to be untrue. Yeah. If it's true, there's no defamation.
Right. Okay. Just on that, then, I mean, how obviously there's a lot of businesses that survive or thrive or whatever as a result of this. Is there a way of dealing with this if there is something on Facebook or Google or whatever which is incorrect? What's the process? Is it the same process?
The same process. I mean, if somebody has said something bad about you on Google, what you would do is, if you know who that person is, you send them a letter and say, you better take that off. If you don't take that off, I'm going to get an injunction against you. You could go to the court and get an emergency injunction if you feel that the matter is so urgent that before the whole world knows about your comment about you, the bad comment, you could get an injunction, getting the judge or the court making an order for that person to take it out, or for the service provider to take it out. So there is recourse to law in order to avoid people saying that. If, however, it's true, then the law isn't going to help you, and the way to deal with the matter is try and speak to the person directly and say, or then make a comment towards and say, well, hold on, you wanted chicken tikka. I recommended that you shouldn't take it because of the way you were saying the kind of palate you had. You didn't listen to me, and I told you not to put extra salt. You asked for extra salt and extra chili on it, and I told you a chicken tikka masala will not taste nice with chili or extra salt, but you didn't take my advice. Do you see the point? You could make a counter comment and say, well, this is the reason your stay at my restaurant or your experience at my restaurant wasn't good, because you did not listen to my recommendation.
Okay, Sham, that's very interesting. I just want to move the conversation on, because yes, we've talked about the fact that you're a lawyer, professional, but there's a lot more to yourself than that. You're an entertainer, you're a public figure, you're in the media. Just talk a little bit about the work that you do, because as I said, you're far from just being a lawyer. Not the fact there's anything wrong with the lawyer.
No, there's everything wrong being a lawyer. Because if you're a lawyer, people take you too seriously. Now, I mean, the entertaining bit actually came as an accident, but it wasn't that much of an accident, because when I was at college, I studied drama and I studied law. And obviously, being Asian, if you ever went and told your parents, I want to be an actor, they'll show you the door. If you say you want to be a lawyer, they'll welcome you. Now, obviously, my parents wanted me to do something that people will respect, so I therefore decided to become an entertainer. No, anyway. So I became a lawyer, and then I forgot about all this entertaining business. And the way it evolved was, in my business, I had a 10-year anniversary in 2015. And one of my clients got me a Indian police officer's uniform, because I wanted to entertain the people at the same time, to show my less serious side. And during my event actually fell on Shubha Bharat, so I couldn't do any kind of music or whatever. So what I decided to do was wear this uniform just to see. So after people ate, I put the uniform on, and it was an instant hit. And as a result of that, we had what is called Noka Bice in Birmingham, and I put my uniform on and I was entertaining the crowd, and then that went viral and became a hit. And then I went to this business talk program on MTV in London. They invited me to go, and one of the persons with me showed my performance at the Noka Bice to one of the directors of MTV. They looked at it and they said, right, we want you to do an entertainment program. And that was it, as I say, and the program is called If You Don't Mind. If You Don't Mind. And the reason it's called If You Don't Mind is because as a lawyer, when I go to court, sometimes I'll digress and start telling jokes to judges, and they will say, Mr. Uddin, if you don't mind, can you please stick to the point, or whatever, in a jokey way, or our friends would say. So, and that's how the name came about. And then as a result of that, I've been asked to host events and entertainment program, and then obviously I'm very lively on Facebook and stuff like that. And then it just had a life of its own. And people say, if you do something different, first people will ignore you, then they will criticize you, and then finally they'll respect you. And obviously, when I first started doing the entertainment, people were like, he's a lawyer and he's doing this. Obviously, they ignored me, then they criticized me, and now they respect me, but now they criticize themselves because they say, we like it. So they think, they don't like themselves for liking it. So anyway, that's what it is. And as a result, I think one of the direct result of me doing my program, if you don't mind, Pathway became aware of me and invited me to one of their, and then they were shocked to learn that I was a lawyer.
Because we didn't know the fact that you had a legal background. We thought you were a professional entertainer.
Okay.
And we were looking at obviously speakers, and we're looking at opportunities for us to expand in terms of the speakers that normally come in. A lot of them are motivational speakers and so forth. We thought this is slightly different, and we thought, let's look at this. And then obviously we found out the fact that you're professional lawyer, barrister, and so forth. So
Well, I think what you've done is you played it easy by asking me to come and do a lecture on law. Now that you met me, I think you're prepared to take the risk on the next occasion and ask me to tell a joke next time. So I'll come as an entertainer on the next occasion, maybe.
I mean, but you've got your own business as well.
Yes.
Obviously, you're a legal professional, but you've got your own business.
Yeah, I've had my own business for 12 years. It's called Hamstead Law Practice. I operate from Great Bar in Birmingham. I left a good paid job in 2005 and
very risky too, obviously.
It was very risky. I mean, I had a good salary, but I risked everything. But thankfully, within a year, I doubled the salary that I was making before.
Wow.
But it was a risk, and I didn't do it to make money initially. I initially did it because I wanted to have independence. Running my business, I thought I could do. And then, thankfully, what people say, most businesses fail within the first 12 months. But if you could go on over 5 years, and then I looked back when I woke up one morning, I thought, it's 10 years, and now it's going to be 12 years on the 1st of May.
Wow, fantastic.
So, I've enjoyed every single second. It's been stressful, don't get me wrong. Some days I've come to the office and I said, I wish I was working for somebody else, but some days, you think, no, I've done the right thing.
12 years in business. You've started 2 years now in
entertainment,
entertaining,
making a fool of myself.
What's the future for yourself? What's your plan?
I don't know. I'm at an age at this moment. You know what people say? I'm going to go with the flow. Never believed in that phrase. I do now. Because things just. I mean, with this new genre of the media, when anybody could do anything really. Anybody could go into media. Anybody could be famous.
Okay. Sham, just very briefly, in terms of obviously today's experience, the crowd in front, just share your perspective on today.
I really enjoyed every single second today. The crowd were engaging, they were interested in listening to me, and I was surprised when they actually laughed at my jokes. So that was a highlight for me, and they took me seriously. When I was dealing with serious issues, and they laughed when I dealt with funny issues, but. If I could make the law entertaining, I think that's a good thing, isn't it?
No, definitely a good thing. Sham, you're a professional, you're a gentleman. Thank you so much for your time. Really, we've just loved you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.